actually upset Puma and move on, actually. That'd be really cool to watch Ostojiy. One of these players that people don't really know too much about, unless you're pretty hardcore into the scene, but he's still a fantastic Zerg player, always lurking around the top 10 GM and North American server.
Absolutely. So just give us a second here. We're going to get started as soon as Ostojiy says go. And we will get this started just momentarily. One moment as soon as Ostojiy gives the go, all go.
Yep. And if you guys have been keeping up, we just came off a fantastic series. It was between Thorzane and Noni, and of course Thorzane did take the series 2-0.
Okay, here we go. The map will be actually dual site to kick things off.
Yeah.
So super excited here. Couldn't be happier casting with Froden. Map is loading in. Just give us 1 second. We're going to switch over to that graphic.
All right, so we do see Ostojiy versus Puma is going to kick off here on dual site. Now, dual site is such an interesting map, just because it's not necessarily a good map for Terran to disturb the third, but there are some times you can hit, and Hellions are pretty good on this map in general. So we'll have to see whether or not they actually incorporate that. But let's go ahead and introduce our players. Tamba, take us away.
So here you can see spawning in the southwest position, Ostojiy. He will be facing off against Puma, spawning as the blue Terran. As Froden said, one of the best Terran really in the world. Actually, we have a pause in the game, and I have to remind you guys, Ostojiy is currently up one because Puma was not able to go ahead and get ready, but Ostojiy has a problem, evidently, with his keyboard, so we have a pause on the game right now.
You can see because his mineral count right now is at 100, and he was at 8 supply, so it was definitely not optimal. But looks like he's gonna see if he can get that this time to work, and looks like he says go go, so everything looks ready for now. Let's go ahead and hopefully everything's good to go. Now I can't begin to tell you one of the most frustrating things if you can't get your settings right.
Yo, absolutely. I mean, a lot of these players draft on a piece of paper exactly how they want their keyboard set up, and when they get to a venue, will set their keyboard and mouse up in just those angles. The angles are so important for them. Everything needs to be as practiced. And really, Froden, you know, as a competitive gamer yourself, comfort and really consistency is what breeds success.
Yeah.
So very, very important. Some players it doesn't bother at all, really, though. You know, it's like, give me a keyboard, give me a mouse, and I'll wreck shop.
Ready to go, yeah.
But I think most players prefer, you know, their setup, their settings, and really, you know, it's their tools. It's the tools of the trade that they use. Absolutely. So got to be comfy.
Yep. So with that, we'll see whether or not Puma's able to really come back in the series, I guess. Right now, you can definitely... No one really likes being put down in game just because they haven't done anything yet. So Puma's under an uncomfortable position. But it is Puma. And he's come back from, I've seen 0-2s before, take 3 games in a row, so he's definitely capable of doing that.
Well, quite frankly, a lot of times in MLG, you'll see players just go ahead and even the series up, but you can't really afford to do that a lot of times. Yeah. So, you know, I respect the fact that Ostojiy will take the walkover. I mean, bottom line is, the rules are there for a reason, and everybody has to abide by them. So it is unfortunate that Puma does go down one game in that fashion, but a player like Puma, it may actually just motivate him, Froden, just that much more. So this could be actually quite scary. Yeah. Again, veritable encyclopedia Froden. Ostojiy, probably a name not familiar to most. What do we know about Ostojiy?
Again, he's top. He's constantly threatening to take top 10 Grandmasters on this North American server. He used to be on NRG, but then went into One Gaming, and then now got transferred to Gosu. Pretty good Zerg in general. Just I know that he loves his macro style, like loves getting up his drones to the 70-80 count by 12-13 minutes. And this is an interesting map for dual site that he chose. Now he is opening up with pretty standard opening, but at the same time, we do see the Reapers out here for Puma. And Reaper expand, very, very cool because we don't see it too often, but looks like he's also teching up the factory as well. So Puma with bringing back the Reaper, because a lot of people thought that Reapers were just inferior version of the Hellion, because Hellions are more mobile. Sure. Splash does damage to light, kills workers faster, but it's cool that Puma's actually bringing up the Reaper, because now he can get immediately into his base. And you can definitely bet that Ostojiy is definitely not dealing with this the best right now, because he wasn't expecting a Reaper. Too many times Zergs are expecting Hellions to become.
Absolutely. Players like DDE as well love to use their Reapers. Sometimes bring 2 or 3. It will split them off, and the Zerg's kind of like, well, which one do I tackle first? So good micro there can actually really do very well. And also, it's about intel, right? You can get a good read on timings. Has he taken gas? Where is he at? What is he doing? So very, very good out of Puma. I love it, actually. I think it's a great decision. And, you know, Puma is another player. He's so very dangerous. And once he has information, you know, it's one of those things that he capitalizes on it. Another player that once he senses weakness, he goes for the jugular. I mean, there is no doubt. Look at his previous games against players, champions like MC. Like, he's just insane when he decides to go for the kill.
Yeah, and, you know, Puma's actually going to go ahead and go for the fast third command center. Now, this is a pretty greedy play, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of Terrans do it. They kind of just keep it inside their base, make go triple meal, and then pump out an enormous amount of units on 2 base, and then transition to take the third really easy and go for a very, very, very strong 2 base timing. But the first rushes are now out into the field. Now, Ostojiy, I've had the pleasure of talking to him once in the past because he did play him, and he kind of loves light roach pressure in CVT, but he's actually committing a lot of his larva to it initially, so it's not just light. He actually has some Zerglings following up, and the idea is because early on, Terran really didn't have anything except Hellions and Marines.
Right.
And you're able to force a lift off, and that's actually a big play.
That's what he did, yeah. So essentially right now, he's got 3 command centers and only 1 mining is the deal. So Hellion and Marines here to go ahead and stave off any of this aggression. Bunker just going to complete now, and Ostojiy going to be content sort of to hang out at the front of the ramp here and get a read as to exactly what's going on with Puma, who has SEVs pulled, ready to repair, just completely prepared. Really almost at a moment's notice. Player's so very good. Ostojiy, I feel like, actually, with that third command center, had a bit of an opportunity there to inflict some pain and some damage, but really hasn't done enough to get anything done against Puma. And now crossing the 8-minute mark, I got to say, I need to see a third out of him.
Yeah. Well, the idea is Zerg wants to rush up to 40 some drones around here. About 42 would probably be the best number. Just around there, give or take, depending on the kind of style you want. He's going for double evo chamber as well, which is really important so he can get upgrades. But for the most part, Ostojiy's staying low tech. He's not going up to layer really quickly. The idea is right now he wants to get his drone saturation up as high as possible.
Well, you know what'll help with that? Macro hatchery, which I love. I love the decision to go for macro hatch before third. Once again, allows you to saturate the third quicker. Great decision, very good. Puma happy just to levitate this command center over his minerals. Cannot mine through osmosis or any other miracle way. Will land it finally and move some SEVs over. So bold. Like, Puma really just very bold, very aggressive player.
Yep, so actually let's go ahead and check in on the harvester count right now. How much did Ostojiy manage to drone up from this? And he actually managed to hit the 50s, so he's actually feeling extremely, extremely confident right now in being able to hold anything else. It's a little bit greedy out of him as Juani stops by and shows a little cheerful.
Juani just trolling some of the streamers here with a picture of DRG. Okay, another pause situation. So this is sort of unfortunate just in terms of the fact that Ostojiy seems to be having keyboard issues. So once again, this being a bit of a problem, we're going to see if we can't get that worked out. Going to assume that there are techs on site right now to take care of this for Ostojiy.
We'll definitely get a ref over there as soon as possible. But right now, Puma is in an interesting situation where he's forced to live for about a minute and a half. Yeah. And as a result, he wasn't able to basically transition to everything he needed to. So Ostojiy is, if he can ride this wave of momentum, he actually will be sitting very, very nicely because he's transitioning to lair.
Yeah, no doubt. Right now, while not able to really inflict much damage, did some indirect damage just in terms of delaying mining and such. But I sort of feel like he needs to continue the pressure against Puma and not let Puma get that third established, especially early at all. So, okay, so here we go. Ostojiy now, problems worked out. Puma maybe a little frustrated, of course, thus far, but this is part of the game. This is what you do. So,
well, Puma's moving out towards the middle of the map here with his Marines and his Hellions. Looks like he's going to try to see if he can catch some units off guard here from Ostojiy, but Ostojiy He right now is just waiting for upgrades. He's making some Zerglings here, but for the most part, he's still focused on his economy, taking his third base as Tumbo was recommending. But at this point, we do see some important upgrades are lining up. +1/+1 in terms of melee and carapace. Stim is also finishing for Puma, as well as the first medevacs will be out into the field.
That third about halfway done here for Ostojiy. And as you can see, doing pretty decent with the creep spread, getting that creep spread across the map, going to grant extra vision, allow him to know exactly when Puma is getting ready to strike. Puma going ahead just macroing up his army here, content to sit back, get a force to strike. I feel like, you know, it's one of those things where Puma didn't open up quite as smoothly as he would have liked, but it's okay because he's stabilized, everything's fine. He's quite safe. Actually loading up a medevac now, and is going to start to probably employ some of that drop play.
Yeah, and right now I think Puma, he's really just focused on playing, you know, a little bit more of the harass but kind of like macro at the same time style, where he's really trying to be focused on pushing out to center the map, but he's going to try to distract his opponent. Now Puma, we've seen him before utilize drops effectively, especially when he went MC, but he's moving out to the middle of the map here. And while we focus on this drop here, the more important part is the fact that Puma is now controlling some map, taking away the dominance in terms of sight from Zerg. And Puma does see the fourth attempt here from Ostojiy. How much
passes it right up, though. Look at that. Passes it right up, and I believe he's going to target down the spawning pool. Yes, it is. Here he goes. Marine's going to come in and start focusing that down. But Link's good reaction time, actually, out of Ostojiy. Going to force the liftoff there, or the pickup, rather. And away goes medevac, but at least he can drop over here to deny this. And you can see another army, Puma, with a dual prong attack as he wants to move out across the map, it looks like, and make something happen. So look, is able to deny that fourth, actually, out of Ostojiy. So keeping Ostojiy on his toes, to say the least.
Yeah, Ostojiy right now is, he sees what's coming. He has his roaches outside the natural, and right now he's pushing him back, but they're going to get caught by Puma as 6 for 3 roaches. He'll take that trade any day of the week. And looks like we see Puma finally moving out towards the southern half of the map.
Yeah. Already
forced to cancel on the forest, so Ostojiy can't afford to lose this expansion.
No, exactly right. And this is what we were talking about earlier about Puma, Froden, where you know, he may just get motivated to go ahead and attack and kill you. And once he decides to kill you, he's just vicious right for the jugular. So
coming from behind, though, we do see the Zerglings try to flood some of the tanks, and looks like Puma did lose one of them. And right now we do see that we're trying to see a huge flank from Ostojiy. He's coming from the watchtower from the north. Looks like the Zerglings do get the tank. That's a huge win there for Ostojiy. He backs off, though, and all of a sudden there's only one tank that remains.
Yeah, one tank that remains, but look at the hatchery, Froden.
Oh,
it's
man.
down to, there it goes, it's done. So
Wow.
Big Stim, he does accomplish a win there in terms of being able to take out 2 hatcheries, denying the fourth, getting rid of the third. There is still a macro hatch in play, but we're trying to reestablish a third to the north. Will he go for a Ling counter?
Yeah, looks like that's exactly what he's trying to do, but, you know, Puma should be safe. Now, the whole idea is that I feel like Ostojiy isn't spending his larva very well, because you can see that he has a lot of resources. The Zerglings do get trapped, and he's going to lose a lot. You can see that he has a lot of resources banked, and the idea is that he doesn't have any tech structures in place other than infestors, so he wanted to go Ling Infestor, but the problem is he didn't have the larva prepared for it, and as a result, he's floating so many minerals that he normally would have otherwise. So as a result, Puma's been able to play his game and throws the Zerg opponent off guard.
Absolutely, and here we go. Couldn't have said it better myself, Froden, but Ling's now moving into the main, very chef-like with these Ling counterattacks against Terran, moving right in here and trying to get somewhat of a surround on that tank. If he can get these tanks out, basically what you want to do here is just keep Terran out of your real estate so you can safely establish some hatcheries and keep your economy pumping, keep the units coming out. And this third will finally complete now once again, and the fourth getting reestablished here, but guess what? The army of Puma is on the march.
Man, I mean, this is pretty much... Oh, looks like the Fungals do come up, but looks like, I mean, at this point, the Vestors can't run from the Marines, and unless he has to burn all his fungal energy, it looks like he's forced to use it. At this point, we do see that Puma is moving closer and going to shut down the fourth again.
No, very wise. He knows that he's going to have to reestablish this. This will be the point of contention. Here we go. Stim going down. Marines moving in. Ling's coming in now as well. Infestors also. Big fungal growth going down on both medevacs and all of the Marines. So siege tanks do survive in the back. Now the question is, can he burn this hatchery down in time before any reinforcements come, or will they just go for a counterattack? As you can see right here, medevacs moving out and some Lings getting cleaned up there. But looks like this small Marine contingent, Froden, will be able to get the job done on this hatchery.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Puma looks like he's sitting very, very nicely. I'm surprised he hasn't exactly taken his third yet, but looks like he's motioning like if he will. He does have the command center on the way. Oh, just kidding. I mean, he's taking his fourth. That's what I meant. I'm surprised he hasn't taken his fourth yet, but it looks like he's moving out.
Aren't you in school for economics and math?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I tried to count to 4, but it was really difficult with the Zerglings. Speaking of 4, we'll try to see if they can take out these 4 tanks. Only takes out 3, though. As Ostojiy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Math back on point. For a second, Froden using that new math, but that's okay.
It's the modern way to count.
I love it.
Honestly.
Infestors Burrow trying to get the heck out of Dodge. Scan would take care of him, but Puma not that concerned with it. As you can see, Army kind of everywhere at once. He's got this contingent up here, and he's going to leave them there simply because he does not want to allow Ostojiy to go ahead and re-establish that hatchery. Now, if Puma can once again take out this hatchery, that is going to prove very, very difficult. This has got to be held here by Ostojiy.
Yeah, and I think Puma is very interesting because he's using these small little factions as opposed to the giant marine tank
hold
force.
that thought. Look at this. Big drop back in the main.
Good job here, and great damage. He's targeting down the tech buildings, and his tanks are alive, and that's going to be really damaging. But the big part is the fact that these investors are trying to chase the Marines back into the tank line, and the Marines are running. They should be able to shut down, but there are a lot of losses incurred. Or will it? No, the investors run straight into the Marines head on.
And look, the drop's still going in the back, and there's the GG out of Ostojiy. Match is now tied up. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with getting the walkover. While it was nice for Ostojiy, only seemed to fuel Puma in terms of...
He's here to play.
Yeah, he's here to play. So, and I'm not 100% here, but I believe Puma may actually advance into pool play?
I believe, is it because I think I'm trying to look at the... I'll go ahead and pull up the bracket.
Yeah, so we're going to try to take a look at that if he wins this. Either way, it's a huge series currently for Puma and Ostojiy. So, series is tied up there. Fantastic play, really, out of Puma. Not the greatest of starts for him. Maybe a little bit uncomfortable initially, as Ostojiy did get a lot of his forces, Roach's links, so he will advance into pool play after if he wins. If Puma does win this, and I would imagine, of course, same for Ostojiy. Ostojiy, unfortunately, in that game, finally succumbing to Puma's aggressive style, and it all really started off the back of that initial drop. Initial drop came, surpassed the 4th. It went into the main. There was great reaction out of Ostojiy, however, couldn't get to the 4th. Puma knew this, was able to deny the 4th and the 5th, and really ping-pong between both and would not let him expand. So great play, really, out of Puma. Ostojiy has to be a little frustrated right now.
Yeah, I think Puma, it was really cool because we were talking about how he's using these small little factions of units to be really effective, when normally you want to keep your tanks together to do like a strong stand and make sure to take a huge push across the map. But Puma's incorporating the tanks into his drops, into his mobile style of play, and Puma's doing a fantastic job. So Ostojiy just had no answer.
No, absolutely
right. Ground.
Absolutely right, Froden. And just getting ready to go to the ace match now. Of course, Puma, the heavy favorite in this match. But you know what? It's MLG. Anything could happen. Ostojiy could pull it out here.
We've seen crazier stories.
We certainly have. We certainly have. I kind of felt like that game was a bit of a heartbreaker for Ostojiy, simply because, you know, against that early third, he had all the units early on in the real estate of Puma, but he really couldn't translate that into any good, sustainable damage. A lot of indirect damage, delayed a lot of mining, forced to lift off on the command center, delayed landing that third. But really, after Puma got settled in, and we talked about this, that's the scary part. When Puma gets settled in, after he gets the information and gets his plan formulated in his head, he executes so well. Yeah,
and the thing about what you were saying is that, just like you said, Ostojiy had a pretty decent advantage. He had 55 drones and was able to get his third up, but he just didn't make enough units because he was playing a little bit too greedy, and as a result, was not able to hold out the push and just kept losing ground like a poor Native American.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where we saw around the 8-minute mark, it's like he needs to start thinking about a third here. The macro hatch, again, I like the macro hatch, of course, but against a player like Puma, really, like, it's so difficult because he is hyper-aggressive, and once that aggression starts, he's seemingly everywhere. We saw constantly Puma coming into that 4th at the top, but also simultaneously moving his army down to the south. Multiple points of conflict, which is exactly where Puma's comfortable, and Ostojiy obviously really wasn't.
Yeah, so we'll see whether or not Ostojiy able to come back in game number 2. But for now, we'll wait to see. He has the request to switch computers because he was having trouble with his keyboard.
Okay.
So we'll have to see if he can get that technical issue sorted out.
Yeah, as we said, you know, it's a matter of comfort, obviously, and really these are the tools of the players, and you want to make sure that they have no problems, no technical issues. And again, hats off to the MLG staff here, the referees, and the tech support that is on site to go ahead and take care of a lot of these issues, because they really are here to make sure the players are completely taken care of. If there's a keyboard, I know actually my friend MLG Wiggin, who's a great ref, loaned his keyboard in one of the events to Marine King because they use the same same keyboard, and he was having an issue. So they'll even give their own stuff to these players. Who wouldn't, though, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
if
then
you
know, you get the luck of Marine, not the luck, but you just feel the transfer of skill. It's like, wow, I am doing this because Wiggin also plays Terran, so
yeah,
he was like, oh yeah, Marine. He just like watches him, he like memorizes how his fingerprints and like takes all the DNA, sends it to CSI.
Actually, side story: Marine King told him if he wins, he's keeping the keyboard.
Oh,
but I think Wiggin was like, yeah, that's fine with me, you know. So he signed it for him and everything. It was really, really cool. And again, guys, I can't really, and this goes for Artosis and Tasteless too. Like, we're all fans of the game. Like, man, we all get just as excited around these players. I mean, it's really contagious. When you hear the crowd roar, it's amazing.
Wow, the crowd
really
is so loud behind us, and I don't know if I don't think the microphone picks it up, but it's absolutely. It's riveting to just be here in this environment where the crowd is going nuts over, I believe it's JYP and Nidra we're playing on the other stream. I'm not sure exact live results right now, but it was absolutely incredible just to be in this environment.
No, absolutely. So right now this will be Ostojiy's map pick. I'll be interested to see what he picks as his map, of course. Just sorting out his tech issues right now. So give us a second. We'll bring up the we'll be pushing the up next card in just a second. I'm going to check in with the ref and see just how much time we have. You can go ahead and tweet at us. We love to interact with you guys, of course, at TumbaSC and at Froden. Let us know your feedback. Let us know your predictions.
Okay. I wanted to see the